Good afternoon, you handsome lot. On the ramp today, I have got a 2011 Range Rover Evoque with a 2.2 engine in it. Hi, Steve. Anyway, this car is having a timing belt replacement. Now, it's not due on mileage because it is only done 69,000 miles, but it is due on age. Should we get involved and get this timing belt replaced? Right, let's make a start on this car. First things first, disconnect the battery negative first, and we've also taken the cap off the coolant tank. I'm going to take it up in the air now and drain the water off and just remove the belly pan, the driver's side front wheel, and the inner wheel arch. Right, we've now got the vehicle up in the air. Driver's side front wheel is off. Now the inner wheel arching, you just have to remove the wheel arch, just pull it in the corner there, and there is little clips. Just be careful with them because it will snap. Now to gain access to the timing belt, we have to take the upper timing cover off. Now, there is a 10mm by there, which is a lot easier to do from underneath. And we also have to just slacken off the Jubilee clip for the intake on the turbo because that intake pipe's got to come off as well. If you haven't noticed already, I have already fitted the Picklet engine support. Now, a lot of people are going to say you don't need to take the engine mount off to do this job. Probably don't, but I like to make as much room as possible because these hands are not the best for getting in them tight spaces, trust me. With the vehicle back down at working height, I've gone ahead and removed the engine cover and also the intake pipe for feeding the turbo from the airbox, just to make a little bit more room for ourselves. Now this pipe is all loose, but you just need to pull this engine mount out of the way. Now with that engine support underneath, it makes life so much easier, which I'll show you now. As long as you take the weight of the engine on that engine support, you can go ahead and remove that engine mount without any worrying about tripping over jacks, axle stands and stuff like that, which I'll show you now. I've already undone the bolts, most of them, but I've got one left, and if we just undo this one now, you should see that engine is supported, and we can pull that mount now out of the way. It might just have to use two hands. With that now out of the way, we've got lots of room to pull this pipe out without worrying about having to break little plastic clips like these, because that mount would have been here sort of thing. We wouldn't have been able to get it out. You probably could have struggled with it in place, like a lot of you are going to say, oh, you don't need to take that mount off. But anyway, we've got that pipe off now with nothing broken. I think we're in a position now where we can get this upper timing cover off. Now I have undone two bolts. We've got one more to do. I tell you what, this ratchet's been doing me head in lately. It keeps working. You give it a clout and it works. I don't know. Anyway, that timing cover now is off. You put it on one side, nice and safe. Make sure nobody's going to stand in it. And then we can get a 21 or 22 on the crank pulley. We can get this engine timed up. To time this engine up, there's two pins you need to, one in the flywheel and one in the camshaft. Now the one in the flywheel on these is an absolute nightmare because it's got a foam padding around it and a plastic cover, and you've got to take the starter motor off, and it turns into a big job. But the camshaft, little pin, goes through the camshaft, and I'll show you where that pin is located now for the crank, is that one there. So what we're going to do is get the camshaft lined up, take the crankshaft pulley off, and just see where the Woodruff key is on the crank and see if it's 12 o'clock. I've spun that engine over with a 22mm on the crank. Now, I've got the timing pin. Now, these timing pins, I've had these years. I mean years. And that should, let me just show you. I don't know if you can see it. I'm fitting that between the cutout and the hole in the head. And that should just slide in there perfectly. Right, let's take the vehicle up and get the crank pulley off. With this vehicle up in the air, what I've done, I've marked the crank pulley and I've also marked the the flywheel as well. If you go through there, you can just see there on the ring gear, I marked it to the engine. So even though the camshaft's right, the crankshaft can be 180 degrees out, if that makes sense. Let's get this alternator belt off and get that crank pulley undone. One crankshaft pulley removed with no dramas whatsoever, but it is a good job that I marked not so much the pulley, but the flywheel itself. Can you see? That mark has now moved. If you have a look at the gear, it is elongated a little bit, so it can turn a tooth or two. But if I put that pulley back on, so this is why I always like to mark stuff. How am I going to do this now? If I put that there, like that. If I turn this crank now by my hand, you see, them lines, well, I will get it lined up in a minute. I can't do it with one hand. I can't. But anyway, you get me drift. It's a good job that I put a reference mark. You're probably wondering, right, Baz, we've got this far into the video, why haven't you got your receptacle and drained the coolant out yet? Well, I'm going to show you, and all engines should have this design because I think it's absolutely brilliant. Some of you are already going to know already, but a lot of you aren't. In the bottom of the water pump, there is a drain bung. Receptacle at the ready. Lower timing cover off. We just remove that bung now. Can you see it? See it dripping? I have slackened it off. That's going to drain lovely into my receptacle. When you remove the lower timing cover, just as a precaution, I do like to remove the crankshaft sensor out of the way so we're not knocking and damaging it. And also, just be careful with that pickup ring, because if this little magnetic strip gets damaged in any way, shape or form, this vehicle's either going to misfire or not run properly, or not even run at all. Right, well that is all that coolant drained out into my receptacle now. We can just drop this engine down now. We're it down by the jack. Oh, this is brilliant, this is, I love it. You watch this. We can do everything now pretty much from underneath. We get our little 13mm. We can undo that tensioner. Just slacken it off if we can with our hand. It's pretty much like that. And then we can go ahead, just pull that timing belt off. Simple as that. Now that belt, it is in relatively good condition, considering the age of it. We've got the old timing belt off. I've gone ahead and removed the water pump with all the 11 mils. Now it does look in good condition. Now it has just been weeping on the corner there. Should we go ahead and get the brand new water pump on? Now, one of my pet hates is silicone. And the amount of these that I've seen over the years where people get a gasket, cover it in silicone and put it on, it'll void warranty and it'll cause all sorts of problems in the future. Now, I've also cleaned the block down with some 3M Scotch pad because it's an aluminium block. We don't want to go anything abrasive on it. So we've just gone over it, given it a good cleaner-rooney. I'm going to get that pump on now and get it torqued up to spec-a-rooney. Now, if you're new to the channel, I do like to follow the torque specs for all these vehicles and components. So I like to do it right. Now, what I'm using is old data, and we've searched water pump, and it's brought everything up that we need to know about the water pump. And we're going to get it torqued up to 16 Newton meters. Water pump is now torqued up. Now we need to go around to the guide pulley. Now this does fit just in the engine mount, and it slots up. Now if this was in a Freelander 2, it'd be 60 Newton meters. Because it's in an Evoque, it's 47 Newton meters and 80 degrees. The same engine, why make two different specs? I don't know. Timing belt is now on, well, semi-on. We put it on the crank pulley. Now I have put this little horseshoe clip that does come in with timing kit. You know what? Brilliant that is over the years. Now, there's lots of tips and tricks where you lot are probably going to think, oh, I use this or I use that. Drop down in the comments and let me know what you use, just to keep that belt on while you're routing it. Let's drop the vehicle down now and put this belt on the camshaft and get it timed up. Right, well that is the timing belt all routed. Now, we're going to tension it from underneath because it's easiest to see the pointer on the tensioner. But while we're building stuff up, I'm going to pull a vacuum on the coolant system and make sure that we've got no leaks whatsoever. Now, if you've never seen me using this before, it's an absolute game changer. It's a universal kit. It comes with all sorts of different attachments for the different vehicles. Make sure that switch is pulled over. Put the airline on, and that'll pull a vacuum now. And I just want to go just before the red. Lock that off, switch the air off, disconnect the airline. I'm trying to do this one-handed here. Now while that's holding a vacuum, if we come back to it once we've finished off underneath and that needle's gone down, well, we've got a leak. Anyway, let's take it up and get this timing belt tensioned up. Timing belt is now tensioned up correctly. If we have a little look at the tensioner, that arrow is bang on. Now we need to put the lower timing cover on, then the pickup ring, then the crank pulley, torque it up, spin the engine over twice and make sure all the lines are marking up and the tension is correct on the belt. But before we put the covers on, we're going to give them a little bit of a clean, a little bit of elbow grease. Customers probably never going to see this, but I know that it's clean and it looks a little bit more presentable. Crank pulley is now on. We've torqued it up to 70 Newton meters and then 80 degrees. Now how I've held the crank is I've got, where's it gone? A good strong pry bar, identifying as a pry bar, that is now. And I've gone just in the ring gear and the engine, well, I've got gav to hold it while I torqued it up. Now as you can see, them timing marks are spot on. Now I've pulled the pin out of the camshaft, but before we spin the engine over, remember when I planned ahead and vacuumed the coolant system? It's now ready, the needle hasn't dropped at all. All we're going to do is flick a switch now and that will fill that coolant system. Brilliant. Such a time saver this is. But anyway, I'm going to wait for this to fill, then we can wind it over by hand. Well, I think I'm in a position now that we can start putting this car back together. I've spun it over by hand and everything is aligning up perfectly. There's nothing catching, there's nothing, it's pretty much perfect. And also the tensioner, the little needle, is bang in the middle of the marks. Right, should we go ahead and get this vehicle put back together? Let's chuck it into a little bit of a time lapse. And there we have it, with a little bit of magic, that car is all back together. I wish it did take that quick to put it all back together, but it doesn't, unfortunately. Right, so we get in the car and give it a big start rooney. I need to lose weight, I do. Struggling in between these two posters and doors all the time. It's hard work, it's hard work. Right. Foot on the brake when it stops beeping. There we go. Car is now running. Oh, it's hard work. Whew. I'm not going to lie, I need to get me summerboard back in action, I think, then. Who am I kidding? But yeah, anyway, that car is now running and sounding like a little Singer sewing machine. I think I'm just going to let it tick over, let it get up to temperature, torque this driver side wheel up. Yeah, that's the next plan of action. Tighten this, well, torque this driver side front wheel up. while this car's ticking over, the customers have asked me to replace, you know, the tank cover on these, the metal one. As you can see, it's all grotty, and they have supplied me with a new one. But they also did say if it was going to be a quick job, change it. If not, it's going to have to be booked in for another day, because I've got that much stuff booked in now. I've got to drop the diff, the exhaust, just to get it off. A little bit of a pig of a job, that, to be honest. But yeah, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to change that from today. Right, well, the car now is slowly getting up to temperature. The vents are nice and hot. But while I've been waiting for it to get up to temperature, ever since I set my eyes on this car and I drove down the yard, this corner bumper here was held on with duct tape, and it was just sticking out, and that did my head in. So what I've done is made it fit a little bit better for the customer. It's little things like that. That bugs me, that does. But anyway, that car is now finished. If you've made it this far, fair play to you. Thank you very much for watching the video, and if you've enjoyed it, do not forget to hit that like and subscribe. We're almost at the weekend again. Can't believe it, can't believe it. But anyway, car's now ready for the customer for collection. Let's get it sent.